I want to recognize my parents. My parents were the people that introduced me to New York. And just to give you some background, I grew up in Montreal because of my dad. My background or my upbringing was all about sports. And at some point in the sort of mid to late 1970s, my mother, who had no interest in sports, decided that it was time for us to be exposed to a little bit of culture. And in her mind, culture meant one thing. It meant Broadway shows. So one day, my dad packed up the car and we drove from Montreal to New York City, and we stayed at the Sheraton Hotel near Times Square to begin our weekend of being immersed in culture. Now, in my mother's view, when you're immersed in culture, that meant we went to a Broadway show Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. And during the days, we would go see movies, we'd go to museums, we would eat all of our meals in the hotel. My dad would go to the stage in Carnegie Deli, and we'd all eat all of our meals in the hotel. And I think actually to this day, we hold the record as the only Jewish family to come to New York and never eat in a restaurant. Now, of course, my parents felt that was because we were too uncivilized to eat in a restaurant. But I remember back then, and you all remember Times Square, I remember being terrified by the grittiness of Times Square and of New York. But at the same time, being totally energized by the buzz and the energy and the culture of New York City. And I remember saying to myself that I hope that one day I could make my life in New York City. And as I stand here, I feel so lucky that I've been able to make friends, build my life, have a career, grow my family here in New York City. 24 years ago, almost to the date, I was part of the first group of immigrants to be naturalized after 9/11. And I went down to the federal courthouse near downtown near Gracie Mansion, and I remember that soldiers were protecting the courthouse with guns, and I was so excited to become naturalized. And it was really, it was certainly an interesting time. But what I remember is that in the face of one of the most devastating terrorist attacks in the history of this country, and at a low point in this country still recognized that immigrants played an incredibly important role in the fabric of this country, and also were part of the solution in terms of rebuilding this country. And I know from my life, I feel so blessed to have been able to live in the greatest country in the world and the greatest democracy in the world. But I also know that democracy is hard, and today democracy is being challenged. And I think that's why organizations like Citizens Union that stand up for our democratic values and stand up for political integrity are so critical today. I just want to end by thinking about my children, about Renee and Daniel, and I hope that in some small way I've been able to help this city and this state become better places to live and to work. Because Lord knows, all of us in this room, all of us have a responsibility to ensure that we leave this city and this state better than we found it.